Everyone loves a nice visit to the beach. Nothing can beat the feeling of sand in between your toes, the soothing sound of the tide, and the warmth of the sun. Although your casual beach day involves finding some seashells, seaweed, and sea life on the seashore, you definitely would not expect to find giant eyeballs, rubber ducks, and a shark head. As for these unfortunate people who stumbled across some bizarre things that washed up on shore, their beach day did not go as planned. The sea is full of surprises, many of which find their way to the shore. Countless weird things end up on the shores across the world that would definitely surprise you. From massive barges, shipwrecks, and motorcycles, here is a list of the 10 strangest things to wash up on the shore. Please do not forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more informative videos like these. Number 10. A bag of severed human hands. A fisherman near Khabrovosk, Siberia, was startled to discover a human hand poking out of the snow on an island in the Amur River on March 8, 2018. He soon discovered a total of 54 severed hands, which had somehow washed ashore in a bag at the popular fishing location. The authorities were quickly summoned amid rumors of organized crime involvement and speculation about the work of a vicious maniac. But the investigative committee of the Russian Federation soon told the populace not to worry. The hands likely came from a local forensics lab, the committee said, where they were kept as a form of identification and then improperly disposed. The committee promised a full legal assessment. Number 9. Lots of Lego bricks. Ever since 62 shipping containers full of 4.8 million Lego pieces fell off a boat on February 13, 1997, pieces have been washing up on UK shores to surprise beachcombers. And they're not regular square bricks either. Delightfully, many of the Legos in the container were nautically themed. It's estimated that in the years since the spill, the pieces could have drifted over 62,000 miles, meaning they could be virtually anywhere in the ocean. But thus far, finds have only been confirmed in parts of southern England, Wales, and one site in Ireland. Number 8. A giant eyeball. Perhaps reminiscent of the infamous Montauk Monster, this eyeball washed up on a Florida beach. To experts, it looks an awful lot like the giant squid eyeball we recently saw on a behind-the-scenes tour of the Smithsonian. To find out, experts inquired with some of the intrepid National Geographic grantees. But first, where did the eye come from? According to news reports, the mysterious eye washed up on Florida's Pompano Beach, where it was found by a beachcomber. Instead of whisking it away, as was the case in Montauk, the fine citizen handed it over to the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission on Wednesday. Those scientists put the softball-sized eye on ice and sent it to the Fish and Wildlife Research Institute in St. Petersburg, Florida. A spokesperson for the commission, Carly Sigelson, told NBC News that scientists will use the genetic testing to try and figure out who the eye belonged to. The primary suspect right now is that it would be a large fish, Sigelson told NBC, such as a swordfish, tuna, or deep water fish. Number 7. Love letters from World War II. Just a day after Hurricane Sandy ravaged the East Coast in 2012, Kathleen Mullen made an incredible discovery near the Jersey Shore. A stack of 57 letters bound with a pink ribbon had washed ashore in the storm. Mullen took the letters home, dried them by the fire, the power was still out from the storm, and realized she had stumbled upon love letters written between Dorothy Fallon and Lynn Farnham between 1942 and 1947 while Lynn was in the military. It's unclear where the letters came from, but Mullen was determined to get them back to the couple. Through research online, she was able to locate a niece, Shelley Farnham Hilber, who lives in Virginia. Dorothy and Lynn had gotten married after the war and had 2 children. Lynn and the couple's son are deceased, and their daughter has lost touch with the family, but 91-year-old Dorothy was living in a nursing home in New Jersey. Number 6. A Harley Davidson. Ikuo Yokoyama lost his home and 3 family members in the devastating 2011 tsunami, so he probably hadn't given much thought to the fact that he also lost his motorcycle and everything else that was in the van that he was using as a storage shed until it washed up on a shore over a year later in British Columbia, more than 3,000 miles away. Peter Mark stumbled upon the storage unit while exploring a remote beach on Graham Island. The bike was a little rusty, but after the story went public, a Harley Davidson representative in Japan tracked down Yokoyama and offered to pay for it to be transported back to him and repaired to its former glory. Number 5. The St. Augustine Monster. The St. Augustine Monster is one of the earliest examples of a globster, a delightful term referring to an unidentified animal mass that washes up on a beach and results in cryptozoologists speculating about sea monsters. This particular and particularly large carcass was discovered by a couple of young boys playing on Anastasia Island, Florida in November 1896. The boys assumed it was a whale, but Dr. DeWitt Webb, the founder of the St. Augustine Historical Society and Institute of Science, concluded that it was the remains of a giant octopus and sent photos and a specimen to the Smithsonian labeled as such. Over the next century plus, various tests claimed to prove at one time or another that it was a whale or an octopus, depending on which test was run. Finally, in 2004, it was conclusively proven that the St. Augustine monster was a whale all along, just like the two boys who discovered it had thought. Number 4. Vast quantities of drugs. Bags of drugs washing up on beaches is fairly common. In fact, according to Galveston, Texas police, packages similar to the 66-pound bundle of cocaine worth $3.5 million found on a local beach in May 2015 wash ashore once every couple of months. But what made this one unusual was that it was the 6th bundle of drugs discovered on the beach that week. 4 packages contained marijuana and 2 contained cocaine. Police were unsure of the reason for the massive increase, but speculated that heavy storms had restricted access to the Houston Ship Channel, which led to increased scrutiny by the Coast Guard and traffickers throwing illegal drugs overboard. Number 3. A lot of rubber ducks. Just like Lego pieces, these duckies were the victims of a shipping container accident that occurred in 1992. The buoyant bath toys have been drifting all over the world in the decades since, serving as unintentional educators about the ocean's currents. Members of the friendly floaties, a name given to these rubber ducks, have been discovered on the shores of Hawaii, Alaska, South America, Australia, the Pacific Northwest, and even the Arctic ice. Some 200 duckies are still circulating in the currents of the North Pacific Gyre, providing scientists with new information about what is now known as the Great Pacific Ocean Garbage Patch. They've even become the subject of a book called Moby Duck. Number 2. 100 live World War II bombs. For decades they lay beneath the sea, undisturbed by time or tide, but after 70 years, almost 100 Second World War bombs finally fulfilled their explosive destiny yesterday, thanks to the power of a supermoon. A Navy bomb disposal team detonated them after abnormal tides thought to be caused by the unusual proximity of the moon washed them up on a Southampton beach. The experts, who warned that more of the still potentially deadly mortar bombs may yet be uncovered, were initially called in after the low tide revealed 6 near Calshot Activity Center, which runs canoeing and dinghy sailing lessons for adults and children. The water had receded so far that it uncovered the 70-year-old mortar shells, which were then pushed onshore as the tide came in. After imposing a 600-yard exclusion zone and detonating them, the Navy team was shocked to see another 87 appear over the next 24 hours. The nearly 100 World War II-era bombs that washed ashore in Hampshire in 2011, however, were very real and very dangerous. Some people speculated that the so-called supermoon the previous week was responsible, possibly because it caused very low tides, while others speculated that fishing nets had pulled them up. A British Navy team blocked off the beach and detonated the bombs while they were submerged in high tide. Number 1. Whale excreta worth up to $180,000. Ken Williams' dog, Madge, noticed the smelly yellow lump of something on the beach in Lancashire first. Initially, Willman had no interest in it and said that it smelled horrible. He left it and came back home and looked it up on the internet. He said, "When I saw how much it could be worth, I went back and grabbed it. He had stumbled upon a 6-pound pile of ambergris, or whale vomit, worth up to $180,000. The waxy substance is produced in the intestines of sperm whales to protect their digestive tracts from sharp squid beaks. Despite its nickname, it's likely excreted rather than vomited into the ocean, where it floats for untold years before occasionally washing up on shore. So why is the whale excrement worth so much? High-end European perfumeries use it as a fixer that allows the scents to stay on the skin for much longer. It's also a historical ingredient in recipes, especially desserts. Have you heard about any other strange things that washed up on the shore? Let us know in the comments below.